So first of all, thank you so much, Amarnath ji, for giving me a time, and I think this is going to be the most interesting interviews I have done so far.
Oh, thank you.
So you said in your presentation, ignorance is bliss. You have been managing a lot of properties so far. Can you just throw some light on your journey so far?
No, when I said ignorance is bliss, I meant that sometimes when you go through an education process, education is going along the dotted line. They train you in a certain way and you go that way. So if you look at, there's so many examples. Mr. Ratan Tata,
okay,
for
yeah.
example, he studied to be an architect.
Yes.
Okay. And then he laid, not the foundation, but he built the whole structure of a company. So I did my master's in history. And then I've touched history in a very different way, in an architectural way. So I think that all of us have the aptitude in every direction. Not aptitude, all of us have the seed of these, because you can start learning to sing, but to then have the aptitude to go beyond yourself or beyond your contemporaries, you have to work hard or you're gifted.
X factor. Everyone has
Yes.
their X factor,
X factor,
and I
yeah.
think if you follow your dreams, then automatically you get that kind of
Absolutely.
probably X factor developed or something. You recognize that this is your biggest
Calling.
yeah. So tell me something that how many properties you own and you have acquired?
No, so people always say this to me, being Indian and being philosophical, because India is a very philosophical country, I think ownership is the last thought that occurs to me, It's very Western, American, whatever you want to say how many properties you own, what is your bottom line. Those are, not questions that interest me. I believe that whatever, whether you own it or you're a custodian of this, because our life is much shorter, you see. Nimrana Fort Palace is 561 years old.
Yeah.
Kesroli is 700 years old. So we're going to live a little part of that. So if you touch a property which is absolutely ruined, and then you make it extend its life by 500 years, you've been the custodian, and then you leave it to the younger people, the younger team and whoever will run it. And now people talk about Nimranification, which is a process of making a dead ruin viable. So this was, you saw pictures of how it was an utter ruin.
Right.
And when it was put to tender, 14 hotel groups took the papers, but nobody bid for it. Because they had no courage to think, who's going to touch this?
Yes.
So when I say ignorance is bliss, it means that I don't see the problem. Okay, that's actually how I am. I never see that, there's a problem. I always look beyond the problem and I see the solution. So I only see the solution. So when people say, this has happened, so I said, okay, let that be. Now this is what we'll do and it'll be over with. So people say, but like if a wall fell down, once we had built a wall many years ago, it rained and it fell down, everybody is looking, as if the world had fallen. I said, we'll build it, and the whole, wall, that was behind the wall also fell. So we excavated and we made a huge hole there. So if you look at only the positives, but not in a foolhardy way that you say, I'm going to start walking and reach the moon, but I'm saying that with your capabilities, your aspirations, your passion, your perseverance, all that is much more than just money.
A lot of youngsters will be taking inspiration from this.
They should.
This thought process is very inspiring. Also, I believe that there could be a lot of challenges you might be facing. For example, there was a storm yesterday.
Yes.
You might be facing on the roads and dealing with the villagers.
No, so I've been at it 40 years. Of course, we faced all those problems.
So can you just tell me what kind of problems you have faced and also how you deal with them?
One-to-one basis, when the problem arises, you think about it, how would you do it? So some with humanity, some with sternness, some with financial. So one day somebody asked me, what would be one of your strengths in doing this. So I just said it, or not as half in humor, but it's actually the truth. So I said the lack of funding. So he said, "Oh, why do you say that?" So I think that if my parents, who are not poor, if they'd given me lots of money to do this, it would never have happened.
That's
Because rich people's kids, they cut off the hands of their children by over providing them. So they never know how to go out and do it for themselves.
the struggle of hard work.
The struggle of hard work. So if suppose we lived in a jungle and every day I brought home the food, or the kill or whatever, an animal, then one day I say to you, go and get us a deer, you'll never manage. You'll be scared of the dark, you'll be scared of thorns, you'll be scared of animals. But if you've done this all along, or if you believe that you can do it, then you will go and shoot an arrow and bring back something. So the second generation is never as equipped as the first, because decadence begins to seek in, and the third one then actually kind of begins to end that cycle. So I believe, like the Trinity in Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma. So in every family, somebody creates an extraordinary amount of wealth. The next generation then has a problem. If you get $1 trillion to handle, then the preserving, investing, all that, you haven't earned it. But even guarding that wealth becomes a problem. And your children then, because they can buy white shoes, off-white shoes, pink shoes, fuchsia shoes, so then they get spoiled. And they will not value a shoe, they'll value nothing, because it comes,
Generationally, it has come to them. They haven't worked hard for it.
Yeah, so then they bring the end of that cycle.
Right.
So I think that, so my family came from the Punjab, from Lahore, which was Maharaja Ranjit Singh's capital, of Greater Punjab. So all 6 million Punjabis who came from there have all done well. Why is that? Because they had nothing and they stood on their feet.
Survival instinct.
Yes.
They
And
have
the
to
ones
survive.
sitting here with all their landed property eventually sold to all those people.
Right. Coming to my previous question again, so putting it in your words, how many properties you are custodian of?
Yeah, okay. So we did 32 properties.
In Rajasthan itself?
No, all over India.
All over
India.
Top 10, would you like to name?
No, so all of them are not so, I forget their name, because you have to look at the map of India to remember. But so I made a map on my card, and people find that very funny, because if you say how many children you've got 23 children, you'll have to do it in some system, some alphabetical way. So this is it. So there's Nimrana Fort Palace, there's Tijara Fort Palace where we are sitting. There is the Piramal Haveli, which belongs to the Piramal family of now in Bombay, and we restored it for their centenary year and then run into the hotel. There's the Hill Fort Kesroli, which is a 700-year-old fort, also in Rajasthan. So these are 4 properties in Rajasthan. Then we have Deobagh in Gwalior, which is also a wonderful garden palace. Then we have 3 Waters, which is in Goa, which is in South Goa. It's a very quiet and nice property where the delta of a river meets the sea, and then there's a spring. So there are 3 kinds of water, sweet water, salty water, and groundwater. So that's that. There's Tower House, which is a 17th century tower house in Kochi, where, the sea, there was a tower house guiding the ships in. The tower house went because it became a different kind of sea. It's not deep enough now. So they're all historical properties, and then I can just finish it, a few more left. There is Wallwood Garden, which is a Scottish building in Connaught.
Wow.
That's done in a very colonial style. There's Bungalow on the Beach, which is a Danish property. So it's done, in a sort of Danish way. That's in Tranquebar, which was a colony of the Danes. And then there is Coconut Alley, which is also in Tranquebar. So we've done like 2. One is a colonial building, one is a Tamil building for simpler people, younger people who want to. Then in the mountains, we have the Ramgarh bungalows in Kumaon. And we have a glass house on the Ganges in Rishikesh, which is very popular. It's on the Ganges. And in the Punjab, we have in Patiala the Baradari Palace.
How do you identify these properties that this is something I will have to create?
So it's like, when you see a house which you want to rent, it talks to you. You say, okay, I like this, something, the location. So for me, the sense of arrival is very important. People arrive, however bad the road is to this place, because that's part of the infrastructure that is being built and being improved. But when you reach here, you forget your journey. You reach here and say, wow. So then if you keep improving this, make gardens, give you fresh ice cream with strawberries. So people then connect the cosmos, the sunset, the sunrise, which happen every day, everywhere, with the nice little joys of life.
That's
So
true.
you see people, people who worked in other hotels and come to us and then stay with us say that they've never seen, everybody is clicking photographs from morning till evening,
Yes.
which is a compliment to,
Yes.
the site that is created, the vibrations which are created. People come here to propose to their fiancé and all that. So it's associated with positivism. So here is this extraordinary conference which happened. I was most impressed. We are talking of, the liquidation of a company or whatever, and they're talking with such optimism and detail and making, and removing the stigma of whatever it is, and saying, okay, wind up something and get on with something
Something new. Yeah.
So that
Build
is,
yourself again.
build yourself again. So that, I think, is very appealing for the young generation. But I'm old school, I suppose. I've never taken a loan. So that surprises people. Never taken a loan. People think that you take a loan, it solves your problems. It doesn't. It actually begins your problems. Because, somebody say, I'll give you 500 crores. Then what is the interest of that? So you won't sleep at night. You won't know what to do. So I sleep very soundly. I can shut my eyes and sleep anywhere. Because, if you're good to people, to do your work solidly, and and don't only look at the bottom line. Bottom line, invest in people, invest passion, love in property. Now this hall, I've designed the floor. It's meant to be 8 gardens with water channels running. Now there's furniture, you can't see it, but when it will be set up as a restaurant, then you'll be able to see it. But nobody bothers to do this. You get Italian marble, blow up money, and then it doesn't have a soul in it.
And definitely people are coming here to see the natural heritage properties and
Yes.
how they were and how beautifully
Now,
you can
this
live.
wall, this stone is 2 billion years old. The Aravalis are the oldest fold mountains in the world. So why would you plaster this or put Italian marble on it? Because, there's something to learn from Japan maybe. They take a rock which is old and they make this garden, they put the rake and all that.
I think that time is coming back. People are coming back
They are
to
coming.
their roots.
Yes.
And thank you so much for giving your time today. And it was
delighted.
wonderful
Thank you.
talking to you. And I think just last words for all the youngsters who think that if they do not have anyone around, they can't fight the battle. So anything.
Today,
any
I find
inspiration?
that a great pity that young people are saying that today, because when we were colonized, we were slaves. The British left in 47, okay? So then our parents went through that whole phase. So when we were kids and we met an American kid or a European kid, we thought they were there and we were below them. But today, you and or people younger than you, feel equal to them and in many feel superior to them. So without any arrogance, because we are a very wise and humble nation, we should go on doing our work. And we've overtaken the economies of France and England. It was unthinkable when we were children.
Right.
So I think they should have not a misplaced confidence in study, work hard, dream bigger than most people do. But when you wake up, don't stop dreaming. You have to keep acting with your eyes open and dreaming and acting together.
Yes.
And if you do that, the world is your palette and you'll walk over everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It
Lovely.
was As I said in the beginning of this interview, it is going to be the most interesting
Oh,
interviews I
thank
have
you.
done.
If you
But
feel that way. If
and
it
definitely
inspires
it was.
people, it should, because India is now finding its place. And so our trajectory is that, it can't be this at this moment.
Right.
There's no
Thank you.
room for any pessimism.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.